Love is in the air in Greece as Princess Theodora marries her now husband Matthew in Athens. Members of the Greek royal family, Danish and Spanish royal families attended, including a smattering of other royals as well. And of course, for this very, very special occasion, Princess Theodora got to wear you could say, tiara of love, one that has a strong history with weddings within the Danish monarchy, and that is the Khedive Egypt tiara. So today we're going to share a little bit about this particular tiara and take a little bit of a look at the fashion that we have seen at this wedding as well. But if you guys haven't been to Royal Fashion News before, hello, my name is Brittany. I have a passion for royal fashion. So we try to discuss many, many, many things royals, including tiaras, although I have been a bit slow on tiaras, but this is our first tiara appearance in quite a while. Unfortunately, it didn't mean that all the ladies got to wear a tiara, but we did see one very important one. So we'll go over this, but if you guys would like to hear more about the tiaras from the various royal families, do best and worst list for royal fashion, feel free to hit the subscribe button. We would absolutely love to have you back. Okay, so let's take a little bit of a look at the history and then we'll go over a bit of the fashion. So we have the Khedive of Egypt tiara, and this one was created by Cartier in 1905 for a very special occasion, and that was for the wedding of Princess Margaret of Connaught, that is in the United Kingdom, to Prince Gustav Adolf of Sweden. And he was going to be the future king of Sweden, and it was given to them by Khedive Abbas II of Egypt, where he served as governor under British rulership. And the tiara had a very, very special meaning because Egypt didn't always give tiaras to royal ladies for their wedding, but it happened to be that Prince Gustav Adolf and Princess Margaret were purposely sort of had a meet cute in Egypt, in Cairo, and officially fell in love. Now, although I guess apparently Gustav Adolf fell in love with a different sister before Margaret, but hey, it all came together. So the couple married in 1905, and this tiara has a very iconic scroll and marguerite design, and it can actually be taken off its frame and worn as a dress ornament or a stomacher, as you see in this painting here of Princess Margaret. Unfortunately, Margaret did not get too much time to actually enjoy this tiara as she died quite young, but during that time, she did have 5 children, including 4 boys and 1 girl, and that was Princess Ingrid. And she ended up marrying the future King of Denmark, Crown Prince Frederick. And so she inherited this tiara of love, you could say, and took it to Denmark after her wedding. And then this tiara was used later by her 3 daughters for their wedding. So this is at one point Crown Princess Margrethe, but now Queen Margrethe of Denmark, who abdicated earlier this year, Princess Benedict, and Queen Anne Marie of Greece. As Princess Benedict shared about her wedding and wearing this particular tiara in 1968, she said, "When my younger sister Anne Marie married, I think my mother thought it would be suitable to wear as a bride because it is very pretty, light. It's not a heavy one, and she was very young. It was suitable. And then, of course, because she has worn it, my eldest sister and I were also allowed to wear it. And of course, it was a wonderful thing to wear one's grandmother's tiara with the history and all. It was lovely, very lovely." Notable as well, the tiara was also worn by Princess Margareta of Sweden, who is also a granddaughter of Princess Margaret of Connaught, and she wore the tiara for the 18th birthday celebrations of future Queen Marguerite of Denmark because both of the ladies share the name with their grandmother. And so when Ingrid passed away in 2000, she left the tiara to her daughter, Queen Anne Marie of Greece. Now, what is interesting is that although Queen Anne Marie married her husband, King Constantine of Greece, in the early 1960s, by I think the late 1960s, the throne of Greece had been officially dissolved. So I don't know how I feel about her particularly leaving this tiara to Anne Marie because the Greeks have been dethroned. There's really no way to keep these jewels as safe as they would be sometimes in other hands. So I'm curious that this particular one will make its way back to Greece because Ingrid did decide to pretty much divvy up her entire tiara collection, which really limits now the tiara collection in Denmark. So I really hope that some of those tiaras that have been left to Princess Benedict and Queen Anne Marie make their way back into the Danish royal collection. And so when Anne Marie obviously inherited this piece as well, when Anne Marie inherited this tiara as well, she took the opportunity to redesign the base so it fits higher. However, even though Anne Marie is the one who controls it, it has been worn by each female descendant of Queen Ingrid for their wedding. So this includes Anne Marie's children, Benedict's children, but not Queen Marguerite of Denmark's children. Why? Because she didn't have girls, she only had two sons. And so Princess Theodora is the next one, though I'm not sure how old Princess Benedict's children are, but grandchildren are. But one of the next ones we could see this on, although she's not close to marrying, is Princess Maria Olympia of Greece. She would be one of the next in line. Princess Alexis's children would also be potential contenders as well. So we will definitely see this tiara again. The question is just when exactly that will happen. Though I have to say, I think my favorite appearance for a wedding for this particular tiara, it's Princess Natalie of, I won't say it because it's a very, very long German name, but this is Princess Benedict's daughter. So before we get to Princess Theodora, here is one of the last appearances we saw it on for a royal wedding. I think it looks particularly good on her. I think it looks particularly lovely. I have always liked her wedding dress. So here's one of the last appearances for this tiara, but let's look at Princess Theodora in her gown. And obviously you can see here the Khedive tiara right there. She has sort of a shawl over her shoulders here and the rest of the bodice of the gown. And this was made by Celia Artori, and it is a couture house in Athens. So she definitely went with, even though, again, Greece doesn't technically have a royal family anymore, she did go with a Greek designer and obviously had her wedding in Greece. And while I will also show a Instagram video she made of it, I'm not, I would say, a massive fan of this. It almost looks a bit cheap to me, especially kind of all this tooling and stuff here. And I don't think this wrap over the shoulders works. I don't think it works. I also don't understand why this is all sort of beaded up here and this is more lace. I feel like that's confusing. Do you like her bouquet there though? Jewelry looks gorgeous and it is a particularly gorgeous tiara, I do have to say. But yeah, I don't think this one is particularly a favorite of mine. It looks like something. Here's the thing, I measure royal dresses by royal wedding dresses. Could I get this off the rack and basically get the same effect? If the answer is yes, then I don't think it's that impressive of a wedding dress. Just my personal opinion. Here's another look at Princess Theodora. We can see the tiara a bit better up here. And so you also have, you can get a little bit more of the beading up here. Still really confused by what this is supposed to be all about. I feel like it's too big and it just doesn't quite work. And if you are curious, her father did pass away in January of 2023. And she technically, though, announced her engagement in 2018. So obviously her wedding was held back by the pandemic. And so I, though, think that she's a great example of, don't wait to have necessarily your big day when you could get married earlier than that. And because if you are already living together, you're essentially already married, why not go ahead and have the wedding ceremony and maybe do something bigger later? Because I have to say, I've always respected Princess Beatrice's decision to go ahead and have her wedding. It was very, very small. Only basically her immediate family could attend. But here's the critical thing. Both her grandparents were there. If she had waited too long, if she had waited until everything had calmed down, both her grandfather and grandmother might have died by the time she got to her wedding. So instead, she had her wedding earlier so they could attend. And I think that was smart because Theodora waited and she lost her father in between. And so I think this is just putting this out there to people in case you are thinking, and I'm like, oh, I just have to have the big day. I don't want to wait, because if you're waiting a couple of years, and granted, she was only waiting 2 years in between her engagement and her wedding, but you never know what might happen in those 2 years. And she ended up waiting 6 and she lost her dad. So he could not walk her down her aisle, but of course, her big brother was able to do so. So you can't totally see him here, but this is Crown Prince Pavlos, but we do get a good look at the tiara. I do really love this tiara, guys. I love the scroll elements here. There's something so delicate and gorgeous about this that it's really quite stunning. It's just a really, really gorgeous piece. And I really hope it makes it into the main line of the family, because the next princess who should be able to wear it technically is Princess Isabella of Denmark, and then Princess Josephine and Princess Athena, depends on what order they get married in, but they should be the next young ladies who are able to wear this particular tiara, and I hope they can do so. Because again, I hope sometimes I feel like the jewelry within the family is better protected if you can keep it in the main line, and so I think divvying it out as Queen Ingrid did was probably a bit of a mistake, but we shall see. So let's get another picture here of the happy couple. All right, guys, there we go. There's Princess Theodora. She has this stuff kind of in the bodice of her dress. So I don't know quite what that is, but I am sure it has something to do with the ceremony. She got married, obviously, in a Greek Orthodox church, but I just do think the tiara looks absolutely amazing, lovely. And it looked like there was a really, really healthy crowd there as well. If I was in Europe, I probably would have tried to go there to cover it, but alas, wasn't able to happen. But I think, again, she looks really, really beautiful here. But what is always fun about royal weddings is seeing all the royal wedding guests. So let's take a look at the bridesmaids, including Princess Maria Olympia of Greece and one of her cousins. And I've got to say, I don't know what is up with this horrid ensemble. I don't, was she trying to make them look bad? What are those? Those are terrible. Those are terrible. Okay, apparently Celia was also the one behind these ensembles. I just think they're terrible. And Maria Olympia is very thin, and her cousin here is thin too. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I think they both look lovely. You can actually see a bit of the family resemblance in the face. They are cousins, but this is just awful. Love the color though. Hate the dress. Very, very poorly designed dress, in my opinion. So here we have the mother of the bride, Queen Anne Marie of Greece, wearing this blue ensemble, and her son, Prince Nicholas. I'm kind of wondering if they should have, maybe there's, no, I don't think so. I'm wondering if he should have matched his tie more to her dress, because I wonder if he didn't match the colors. So Prince Nicholas, I believe he is the one who recently divorced his wife after several years, which is a bummer because I enjoyed seeing her royal fashion. But we do have Queen Anne Marie, who looked lovely and very excited. You can also see the huge crowd there gathered for this wedding. I'm not particularly impressed with the dress, but it is nice enough and appropriate for the mother of the bride. So this is Princess Alexis and her family. Her daughters are wearing actually two hand-me-downs, which I think is awesome. Again, we have seen this sort of trend where the younger generation is starting to rewear some of their mother's fashions, which is great because things are cyclical. They come back in style. Although I will have to say, for some reason, it just seems like there was an odd dress code because I feel like this dress is sort of, you could say, I don't know how you would say. It doesn't seem fancy enough because she's got beaded work here. This seems very fancy. Maybe this more casual. Casual is the word I was looking for. This seems very casual to me. And so I don't know quite what I think about it, but I guess his tie here matches his uncle's. So he got blue here, green here. So again, just interesting. Always wonder what the color scheme is for these things. So I have no clue who this is, but she is wearing needle and thread. And I got to say, guys, I love needle and thread dresses. I think they look amazing. So pretty. Her earrings also are fab. I have, again, no zero clue who this woman is. Her earrings are fab though. And oh, look, you can see she's got gum in the purse. That's so fun. Look, there's gum and lip gloss, guys. I was wondering, I was like, wait, what is that? But I love needle and thread dresses. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and Princess Beatrice have both worn them. I love the sequin work and everything. Love needle and thread dresses. So here's a bit of a disappointment, and this is Crown Princess Marie Chantal of Greece in this odd ensemble. I have no clue what this is, but it's terrible. It's terrible. The night before she looked great. I don't know. This is hideous though. This is a hideous ensemble. I think I'd have to put her on the worst dressed just because that thing is awful. Like the bridesmaids dresses are awful, but you're kind of at the mercy of the bride, so it depends on that. But I think this is not, I don't even know what this is. What is this neck thing? It's bizarre. It's terrible. I'm sorry, it's terrible. It's just terrible. And so here we got to look at Princess Benedict of Denmark, who I think looks very lovely and regal in this look. She just has class and style, and I think it oozes through. We also have Queen Sophia of Spain. And if you don't know, actually, so Prince Constantine of Greece. His sister was Queen Sophia of Spain. So Sophia went and married King Juan Carlos. And so there is a connection there between the Spanish and the Greek royals. But this is very much just sort of, you could say, a lower level affair. Queen Marguerite of Denmark might have attended this event, but she has recently damaged some vertebrae in her neck and broken her wrist after a fall at her home. So she wasn't able to attend, but Princess Benedict obviously is the aunt of the bride, and so is technically Queen Sophia. So lots of, you could say, some high ranking royals, but I feel like a past generation, most of the current royals who are high ranking within their countries didn't really attend this event. And that is common. Theodora is lower on the totem pole. So technically, most of the time, if it's a lower ranking royal, you tend to get lower ranking royals attending your royal day. Just how it runs. So here we have a Princess Karina, and her husband is the son of Princess Benedict of Denmark and also a long German last name. So he has that German title. And so they actually had to wait about 20 plus years to get married because of a complicated stipulation within his grandfather's will that stated that the woman he married had to be Arian and Protestant. So Karina was not either of those things. So they had to wait quite a bit to get married because if they got married too early, they voided the will. And so they didn't inherit any of the aspects of the estate. And I think there were complications. Anyways, they have had two children via surrogate now, although I don't think either of them are technically in the line of succession to inherit the title. So I don't understand why they didn't already have. My always question was, why not just have kids if you know they can't inherit the title either way? That's what I would do. Anyways, so I'm not really, I like the color of it. I don't really like the ensemble though. And I felt like she was sort of weird getting out there. Like she posed for like half a second and then moved on. And so that's why you get kind of the weird picture. It would have been better if she had stayed a little bit longer and tried to pose for a second or two. So here is the Spanish contingent. And so you have Infanta Elena and Infanta Cristina, some of their children, and then obviously Queen Sophia. And so I think I don't really like any of their ensembles. I think this might be sunlight. I think it's sunlight because it almost looks ombre here, but I think it's sunlight. Polka dots. This feels like a too important occasion for polka dots. The shawl over this, I don't quite get, except for the fact that they are in a Greek Orthodox church. So I'm sure all the ladies had to cover their shoulders. I believe we saw this, but I feel like polka dots is a little casual. That's what I felt like was so weird about this wedding is that it was this kind of weird mix of casual and formal, and it was kind of odd. So there is Crown Prince Pavlos and his whole family here. We're missing one. Oh no, he's hiding behind there. So they have 5 children, 4 sons, 1 daughter. And so again, I think, oh, Marie Chantal, she can look so great. I don't know what's behind this horrifically awful ensemble. And so the boys look good, and there is Crown Prince Pavlos. If Greek still had a monarchy, he would be king, but he was kind enough to walk his sister down the aisle, which I thought was very, very sweet. So the last lady to marry into the Greek royal family here is Princess Nina. And again, I go back to this weird mix of casual and formal because her dress stops at her ankles, whereas other people's goes to the ground. Again, I feel like her dress is a little bit more casual compared to some other people's. So again, I feel like we've got some confusion here. There's Prince Philippos, and they got married a couple years ago now. And so she is an heiress. Most Greek royals have married heiresses. Just putting that out there. And so they make sure they marry people with money, not necessarily super bad. So he looks dapper though, I have to say. And I actually think she looks pretty good here. She can have some quirky choices, but I actually think this is really good. And I'm going to guess this is her brother because they have kind of similar facial features, I think. So he came with them. I'm pretty positive that is her brother, but I don't actually know. I don't know who he is, but I feel like there's a similarity enough where there's a connection, but I don't know quite what that is. Anyways, guys, so I think actually she's one of my favorite dress ladies, and so I think she looks really good. And just finally, we do have a Princess Alessandra of Hanover. She is married to Prince Christian of Hanover, and I do have to say I do like this dress. I think this dress is pretty cool. Gotta say, I don't know who designed it, but I like it. I like shirt dresses anyways. I love the blue color, the cascading blues. I think she looks pretty fabulous here. I can't quite see her husband, but I'm sure he's hanging around there somewhere. And so I think they went as well along with Prince, I think Ernst, I can't remember which is the older brother's name. And so they went to the funeral of King Constantine. So I don't think there's a super close connection, but they did go and represent the kind of German arms of the family there. So the night before her wedding, Princess Theodora wore this ensemble here. So this is another Celia outfit that she has worn. I'm not sure. Again, I don't like the construction of this. The bodice construction there is very odd. I don't think it's particularly flattering. But I do have to say, I do love the bow in the back. I think the bow is very cute. I do like the bow. I do like the bow. So here we have the Crown Prince family of Greece. And I do have to say, see, Maria Chantal can look great. So I like this look a lot from her. Apparently, it's a Louis Vuitton gown. She's worn the similar one that is full length. So there's a question of whether she shortened it or she has two. She has a lot of money. Her father was behind the duty-free stores. So there is a lot of money within her family. Again, like I said, the Greeks, very money. And then we have Maria Olympia here wearing Prada. I think they're both wearing Aquazzura shoes. For a while, I don't think it's still the case. Maria Olympia was a ambassador for Aquazzura and had posed for some advertisement shots for the brand. So I do like this dress. I think this dress is pretty. And again, here we have Princess Nina, and I think she looks rather lovely. Again, I'm liking her ensembles. Sometimes, again, she's really hit and miss. So this is a Husan Zhang dress, and I think she knocks it out of the park pretty well here. Loving the colors too. So guys, that is it for this look at Princess Theodora's wedding. I hope you guys enjoyed it immensely. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you again very, very soon. Bye.
We don't count the carats, we count the centuries.